OC Clock Shop, where your time is important. Okay, this is the clock we're working on today. It's a Ansonia kitchen clock or gingerbread clock. It's a real nice one in a walnut case. Time and strike model with an alarm. The client shipped it to me without the glass door, which is a really good move, because in shipping you don't want that reverse painted glass to break. What I like to do is lay it on a towel because not to damage the paper label if there is one still on the back of the clock. This one does have its original paper label. Okay, I can see somebody had put just like a piece of wire instead of the pin here. So we'll have to pull this out like so. And that's not what's supposed to be on there. We'll put the correct pin on and we put it back together. Okay, as usual, be careful pulling off the hands. And these have been unscrewed probably many times over the years, so just be careful with them. And when you retighten them, don't tighten them too tight and blow the wood out. They might be blown out already. We will see. Yeah, these don't look like the original screws. They're definitely way too thick. But they seem to be doing a good job, so we'll use them again to put it back together. Okay. Marked Ansonian Clock Company, New York, USA. Alright, looks like a pretty good little movement. Let's see what's going on with this. Okay, zooming in a little bit. I can pretty much see what's going on here. We've got two bushings on the time side on the front plate, which are totally worn out. I don't know if you can see them going back and forth here. That is a whole pivot away, and that's a whole pivot away. There, that's the reason that I can guarantee you this clock is not running. That's the first reason. We'll have to pull it out now, turn it over and inspect the back bushings. Strike side, they look pretty good. Sounds good. Now the customer has been oiling this about once a year, which has kept it running as long as it has, but with that kind of dirt and that kind of wear, all the oil in the world will not get this clock running again. Okay, let's pull the movement out. Okay, when you've got an alarm on the clock like this, what you'll want to do before you undo the bolts or the screws, let's say, is you want to take this wire and bend it straight so you can get it out of the lever here that actually sets the alarm. And then you don't have to worry about that wire again until you reassemble it, which there is a trick to getting just the right tension on that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and undo these screws. There's 4 of them. They don't look like original screws, but so far they're really tight, and they're doing a great job of holding the movement in. So we won't have to replace or add any wood or anything there when we're done, because the backboard is in good shape. Not bad for more than 100 years old. We're right around there. Okay. Alright. Get your 4 screws. Keep them together over here in the parts box. Let's turn this thing over here and take a look at it. Okay. Alright, looking at the time bushings. Oh yeah. Both the ones that were bad on the front need bushings on the back as well. Taking a look at the strike side here, they seem to be pretty good. Okay, so I'm seeing 4 bushings right away. Alright, let's go take this thing apart. Okay, the alarm dial indicator, the time set, you just pull it away from the movement. It just slips right on there. Real easy. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to disconnect the suspension spring up here. Pretty easy. Pull it straight, making sure that you don't bend it so that you have to replace it. Notice which way the hook's going, towards the front of the movement. Inspecting that. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty old. I just like to clean it while I'm at it, so every time I touch it I don't get dirty. Alright, that looked pretty good. Okay, now the main thing to do is to let down the springs. Okay, what you want, spring retainers. Okay, you can get these just about anywhere that deals in clock parts. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to encase this spring so when you let all the power out, it stays in this. Okay, so what you do is you put that around the spring. This is what a letdown key looks like, and basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be holding this tight in your hand, gently releasing pressure, and let the spring unwind. Now, most of you that are watching, and maybe a few of you that you know don't know, but this is what's called the click. Okay, now that click is on a ratchet wheel, if you can see right here. See the click on the ratchet? So when you wind it, that click stops it from unwinding and then diverts all the pressure to the gears, which are going to run the clock. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to unwind the spring into the spring holders and let off the click. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that for you and show you. It's kind of tricky, but we'll go ahead and show you what it's like. Here we go. We're going to let it down. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to remove the click spring off of the click, bring it right over the top, push this out of the way, holding this really tight, and then I'm going to slowly let down the spring into the spring retainer. You really want to take your time, and there you go. Now all the power is off of this. The spring is contained in the spring retention holder, and we've got one side done. Let's turn it over here and let's do that to the strike side now. Okay, I'll make sure I got this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this spring retainer on the strike side now. Just got to fish it around in there. It's going to be a little tight, but it's okay as long as it's wound up enough for you to actually get it on there. That's actually perfect. Alright, now I'm going to loosen the click spring off of the click so that I can go ahead and let this one down. Okay, I'll give it a little wind, push the click out of the way, and remember, slowly unwind the spring here. If you let it slip, sometimes you break a tooth on a gear, and that's not what you want to do. It's usually a little bit. I'm still going to just keep unwinding it until I feel no more pressure on the gears. A little tap. Alright, there we are. The springs are in there retaining. There's no more power for this thing to explode, and we're ready to disassemble it. Okay, I wanted you to see the wear on these bushings before we take it apart. That's where it should have been running, and it wore all the way over to that side. You can see that. That's way too worn out to run. So we're going to have to find true center, which will be right there, and then we'll go ahead and drill those out and insert some bushings to fit these pivots perfect. Okay, don't forget to mark your gears when you're disassembling it. I'm not going to mark the gears because I just know where they go. I've done this movement so many times. But if I'm not sure of the movement, I'll always mark every gear on it, just so that I can reassemble it without having to think too much as far as where do the gears go, what pivot hold for what gear, for what bushing. So you just mark your gears and it makes it a lot easier on reassemble and when you're putting bushings in. Okay, I just use my favorite pliers that I got from an old clock maker named Lad Taylor. He was sort of the guru of clocks out here in the SoCal area, and got a little training from him, and he gave me these pair of pliers, so I've been using them ever since. Alright, we'll remove these 4 nuts and start pulling it apart. A lot of corrosion on these. I would say this has not been dismantled for quite some time. Like I said, he oiled it all the time. That's what got him through all these years. Okay, now we got your strike side over here and your time side over here. Alright, so now I'm going to slowly pull the plate off. You never know if there'll be a little power left on the gears, but it seems they let down pretty good. Alright, so now I'm pulling this off, being careful not to ruin the verge, and there we go. Quite a bit of dirt on this side. Take a look at that, right where these worn bushings are. All that dirt's been grinding away in there for years. And there is only one way to get the dirt out, and that's to totally clean it and disassemble it, ultrasonic cleaner, new bushings, and that's what we're going to do. Okay. Alright, now what I like to do is I will take and I will put my gears, okay, on one side. Like all my time, anything to do with my time side, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to put it here. I'm going to set it the way that it comes out here, just in case I see something else while I'm dismantling it that looks like it needs attention. So far, everything looks good. Now to get the spring off, I'm going to have to wiggle it, turn it to the side, and then bring it up. Okay. Alright, we'll do the time side now. Okay, when disassembling the strike side, I like to pull off the fan. It's easiest. The governor, otherwise known. And then here's your wheel here that has your stops on it. Okay, that's what stops the wheel when it arms it to strike. So that's always your second gear. And then let's pull off the main gear here, the number 1 gear. It's dirty, but looks like it's in good shape. Go ahead and we'll pull this gear off here. This is actually the one that's got the little lifts on it, which lift the hammer right here for the clock to strike. Looks in pretty good shape. And then this one here, your lever here, strike lever, it's got a nice little spring on it. Looks in good shape. Not wore too much here. Alright. And then we'll take off the actual strike hammer and lever. Looks pretty dirty, but looks in good shape. And then off the winding arbor and spring for the strike side. Looks in pretty good shape. Okay, now let's go ahead and get these over to the ultrasonic cleaner and get them all cleaned up. Okay, on your count wheel, you want to be careful when you're pulling off the tension spring here. I just put a little bit of pressure there, boom, comes off, and then slide it out. Because you don't want to really mess this spring up. You want it to have good tension without having to rebend that. Okay. Alright, then what you want to do is you want to lift this off here. And you can always tell which way it goes because there's a nice wear mark towards the front of the plate. And back here you can just kind of see where that clip has held it. Inspect all these teeth, make sure nothing's bent. If it looks good, put it in the basket for cleaning. Same thing with all the other gears. You take a really good look at them, make sure they're okay. Gently put them in here. You don't want to bend teeth. You do not want to create more work for yourself. That's the main thing. Be careful. Don't create. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this in the ultrasonic cleaner. If it had a like a leather hammer on it instead of the brass hammer, I would clean this by hand so that I didn't ruin the original sound of that leather hammer. Okay, now back here to the front plate, you can really see. I like to get the dirt off as much as I can before I put it into the cleaner, because the cleaner is like over $40 a gallon. The last thing you want to do is start wasting it. Just take the excess dirt off, and that'll just help keep the cleaner clean. Okay, now what I'm going to do is remove the spring from the winding arbor. To do that, you just have to turn it backwards. Just get a little pressure on it backwards. Then I use this screwdriver I've been using for years for this because it doesn't seem to scratch anything. So then I go down in here and I just loosen it a little bit where and then look at here where the spring actually holds onto the arbor. Just kind of do it and then boom, she's done. Okay, inspect this now, make sure that everything looks good, and it does. I always like to get the click away from it a little bit like so it's when in the cleaner it'll do a better job. Okay, put that into the basket. Now the spring, okay, there's two different ways of unwinding this spring. Okay, the springs I clean in a separate basket because they're just huge. So I go with the bigger ultrasonic cleaner, and I don't leave them in as long because I've noticed that sometimes they'll want to pit on you. So you basically want it to be warmed up. And these springs don't look that dirty. They're dirty, but they're not like I've seen them. But what I do to get these off of here is I use my Webster spring winder, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, I'm going to repeat the same thing now for the time gear. Okay, so I've got my Webster spring winder here, and what I did is I fitted up with the right chuck here. Basically, this is what you're looking at, and you're going to get that. Pick the one that does fit the spring the best, okay? Because you have to wind this up again in order to get the spring out of the retainer. Okay, now this, you need to wear your eye safety gear for this for sure. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this is a loop-in spring. It's got a retainer here, and what I'm going to do is wind this thing up. Okay. Keep on winding it slowly, okay? You want to wind it slowly and keeping your hand on here. A lot of people wear gloves, which is a really good idea to do, so that if it does break, that it does not cut your hand or smash your hand. Okay? Unfortunately, my gloves are nowhere to be found right now. Alright, so what you do is you want to let all the pressure off of the spring. So I kind of manipulate it a little bit because it's pretty grubby and doesn't slip good. See that? That's now loose. Okay, now you can slide that off, but make sure when you do, you keep a good hold on this, because it'll just go bam on you. Now you click the lever again here, go in the opposite direction, give it a little bit, and now you're going to slowly unwind the spring. Very slowly. It can get wiggy on you and just start popping up because it's so dirty. Oh, see, like that? When that happens, you really need to, okay, we're back under control. So I'm going really slow with it. I don't have my face over it whatsoever. And there you go. Now you can take it off of this, the loop holder, and then you want to go backwards just a little bit to kind of open that spring up a little bit. Okay. And then what you're going to want to do is go ahead and unloosen your chuck, like so, and now that's out of there. Now, just like we took them off of the winding arbors, you're going to do the same thing again to get it off here. Just a little, open it up just a little bit, not too much, just so you can pull this out. Okay, there you go. There's your dirty spring. I will wipe the extra oil off here before I put it in the cleaner as well. All right, now you repeat that with the other spring, you're good to go. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and place the basket of parts into the L&R ultrasonic cleaner. I usually leave these in here, let's say, up to a half an hour, depending on how dirty they are. Sometimes only 3 to 5 minutes. That's what they suggest, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Now the part here, off of the alarm, do not clean it, because if you do, it's going to get shiny and the patina won't match the rest of the clock. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to clean this by hand. Okay? Alright, we'll let that clean. I got the springs in my larger unit, and we'll get back to bushing it and reassembling it. Okay. Okay, what I like about this old Ansonian is that it has a gong and a bell. Now the alarm strikes on the bell, give it, and the striking of the hour and a half hour is on the gong. Okay, so no need to take this assembly apart, but we need to pull out the alarm so that we can disassemble it and clean it. I could tell by looking at it, it really doesn't have any wear, but while we're at it, let's clean it. I don't know if he'll ever use this alarm. I've actually used my alarm on my 1853 Seth Thomas when I go to the airport, because if the electric goes out, I got a backup. Okay, so we'll take these screws out, we'll place them in the parts holder, and I'll go ahead and dismantle this. It only takes 3 little nuts, and I don't even need a spring retainer for this spring. It's already out all the way, and it's no big deal whatsoever. Okay, let's go ahead and take this apart now. Okay, what I'm going to do here is the actual winding key here. It just comes right off like so. And that key there, I'm not going to clean that key because I want it to have its original patina on it. Okay, so just going to take these 3 little nuts off here. As you can see, there's a little bit of power. Just kind of give it a few more. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and pull this top plate off. It's probably going to give me a little oomph because of that spring, but it's not going to like blow up on me. Pull that off. You've got your little guy here that actually pushes the verge. It's actually got a verge on it for the alarm. Okay, we're going to pull this out like so, holding onto it tight because that spring, see, there's hardly any tension on that. Pull that off. Now let's remember that the spring is actually on the top. That's where it's attached to. It's not attached here or here, but actually on the top. Okay? Then we're going to use the same principle to get this spring off of here as we did on the winding arbors. Okay, there you go. Alarm dismantled.
Hold on tight. Hold on tight. It's getting tough now. When I look into your eyes, my heart just lets go. When life takes me away from you, feel you here deep in my soul. So hold on tight, it's getting tough now. We'll make it through this somehow. You see, the world is getting older, and the nights, they're getting colder. And hold on tight to me now. I've been away for so long. The wind, the tree, the world, I'm still alone. But if I could stay one more night with you, my love, I swear in the morning light I'd be there holding you. Getting tough now. Hold on tight, we'll make it through this somehow. You see, the world is getting older, and the nights, they're getting colder. So just hold on tight. Hold on tight to me now. Hold on tight. Hold on. You see, the world's getting older. We both know these nights are just getting colder and colder. So hold on tight. Hold on tight to me now. See, the world is getting older, and the nights, they're getting cold.